10 random magic cards rated. Day number 36, everybody. I'm going to try to upload this video and see what happens. If you haven't been following along on Twitter, my channel actually got hijacked by scammers like yesterday, like 2 days ago, really. And I spent most of an entire night, didn't sleep that night and all that, like talking to YouTube support and whatever, like trying to get the channel back. And it appears as though I am back in and we can upload videos. So this is mostly like a test, you know. I actually had this video scheduled to upload along with 3 other videos just like it. But when, you know, YouTube found out that my channel had been hijacked, they do a thing where they delete all your videos that were, you know, uploaded within a certain time frame. So now I got to re-record these and also see if I can actually upload them. We'll see what YouTube lets me do. Fingers crossed, day number 36, everybody. Let's try and get this out before midnight. Let's look at Path of Ancestry. Can we look at Path of Ancestry? I think we can. This is a land that enters tapped, and you can tap for a mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a color or shares a creature type with your commander. Scry 1. Just a fine card. Super fine. Always ETB's tapped, which is not super great, but a command zone that ETB's tapped. That also allows you to scry like fairly often. Okay, I'll take that, right? So I'll just give this a 7 to start the day. You know, we gave Command Tower like a 9.9 because we're rating this for casual commander. And so entering tap does like dock a couple of points, but it's still worth some money, I would say, in terms of points, not actual money. It's like 10 cents for this card. But let's move on to Mountain. All basic lands get a 5. This is an Odyssey Mountain. It looks pretty good, honestly. Rob Alexander, you always do a pretty good job. Actual second card of the day is Notvold Hermit. This is 4 mana, 3 and a green for a 4/4 troll. You can pay 5 and a Phyrexian blue to transform it at sorcery speed, and it becomes Chrome Host Hulk. This is a 5/5. Whenever it attacks, up to 1 other target creature has base PT 5/5 until end of turn. So if you get it flipped over, it ain't too bad, but it does cost a total of 9 mana, or 10 even, to get it flipped, and that is not good. So draft special right here. We'll just give this card a 2.4. Moving on to Overgrown Battlement. This is 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 0/4 wall with Defender. You can tap it to add a green to your mana pool for each creature with Defender that you control. So, okay, it's a Vine Trellis. It's a strictly better Vine Trellis in most ways, right? So, also, Franz Volwinkle did a great job. I guess it would be Wowinkle, depending on his native language. But yeah, it's pretty art piece on this. But altogether, I love Vine Trellis type cards, Wall of Roots and stuff like that. And this is going to be like really playable. I don't know how I've never seen this, like in an Arcades, the Strategist kind of, you know, deck. Because this is probably in every single one of those, isn't it? I'm going to give this a 5.9. 100% serious, man. 2 mana dork with a decent PT, can't be shocked or anything, can't be bolted, and sometimes produces more than 1 green mana. Matter of fact, I think in Arcades, you could probably get this to produce, you know, like 3 mana, like really easily. So yeah, it's a great card. A great card. Bojuka Bog is up next. Let's look at, you know, one with normal art. This has been printed a million times at this point. This is a land that ETB's tapped. When it ETBs, you exile a player's graveyard. You can tap it for a black. Altogether solid. If I'm playing a commander deck with swamps, I often load this in. And I'm always playing a commander deck with swamps. Ellis Ilcord, Judith, Dina. I'm a swampy kind of dude. So this is in like pretty much every commander deck I own. And I'm going to give it a 6.8. Not better than a swamp, I would say. Guaranteed or anything, but somebody's messing around in their graveyard. Somebody is. We're going to put a stop to that. Let's move on to Molimo. Molimo, baby. Mara Sorcerer. Let's look at the invasion one. 7 mana, 4 and 3 green for a star Legend Elemental with Trample. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. So you get a Nissa Who Shakes the World token. There's a bunch of other cards that are effectively this. Difference is, this guy has Trample. He's not as good as he once was, and I'm not sure he ever was very good, to be honest with you. But back in the day, we used to play this as like the Timmy card of de jour, right? It's like, oh, this guy gets huge, man. If you're ramping, why not play the guy? Because you're often paying 7 mana for like a 6/6, because you got a couple of dorks out or whatever. But he's okay. I still have some love for Molimo. I would give him a 5.1. I just want him to be slightly better than average, even though I'm not 100% sure that he is. Like, if this guy was a random uncommon printed in a newer set, I'd be like, no, draft special. But I got too much love. Taumatog up next. This is Thaumatog, really. 3 mana, 1 a green and a white. I don't really associate Thaumaturgy with Selesnya, but yeah, 3 mana for a 1/2 ATOG. Sack a land, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Sack an enchantment, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. You see how that works? It's still a cool card. Only ever printed in Odyssey, and never, ever, ever again, which is like really surprising. Not reserve list, just neglected. You know, cool looking card. ATOGs are always going to be iconic, right? This is actually halfway decent. I wish it got +1/+1 counters, but ATOGs typically don't. ATOGs are supposed to end the game in a swing, and that's that. But we're playing Commander, so you might end one person's game and that's it. It also doesn't have any like keyword abilities or anything. It's just got to get through unblocked, and no one's going to let that happen. So I'm just going to give this like a 4.4, which kind of hurts my soul like a little bit, but I just don't think we're in the kind of world that is amenable to Thaumaturgy anymore, or most ATOGs, which is really sad. We'll move on to the Swarmlord. Oh, the Swarmlord. Can I get a normal looking one? Yes. This is 3 in Teamer colors, green, blue, red for a 5/5 legendary Tyrannid with rapid regeneration. The Swarmlord enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each time you cast your commander from the command zone this game. It also has Xenos Cunning. Whenever a creature you control with a counter on it dies, draw a card. That's a good line of text. It's a very good line of text. Obviously, if this is your commander, right, the second time you cast it, 7/7. Next time you cast it, 9/9. It's going to cost you a lot of mana for that third cast, but whatever. It doesn't have any keyword abilities either, so like, okay, it's a 9/9, whatever. But if they kill your commander, right, actually the first time you cast it, it's a 7/7. If it's your commander, right? And the second time, it's a 9/9. The third time, it's an 11/11, if it's your commander. So that's okay. That's okay. You could probably also like play a 1 or 2 mana cost commander and end up putting like bukus of +1/+1 counter on this because like you cast your commander a ton of times. So it's relatively cheap to do that. I don't know. It's kind of neat. This is almost certainly meant to be your commander though. And 6 mana is a lot for a dude with no real protection. But I guess if he doesn't get exiled when they shoot him down, like he'll draw you a card. That's fine. So I don't know. I'll give him like a 5.6. I don't hate the dude. I don't hate the player. I hate the game. I don't hate the game. Let's move on to Kamals Will. This is 4 mana, 3 and a green for an insto. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast the spell, you can do both of them. Until end of turn, any number of target lands you control become 1/1 elemental creatures with vigilance, indestructible, and haste. They're still lands. Choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to that creature. Oh, okay. That's good. I've never seen this in my life. Surprising how many cards there are like this, but this definitely has some goos. And goos is good, right? So I think, again, though, you know, even if I have 10 lands out, am I really alpha striking with this card? Probably not. I like Cormus Bell, like living land kind of effects. I'm a fan, but I've never like won a ton of games with them or anything. I just think they're cool effects. The addition of indestructible and especially vigilance is pretty helpful. On lands, obviously. And this is, if you have enough lands, or even if you only have like 4 or 5 lands, you can probably kill something with this. Do I need to order this card for the mono green cube? I might. You're not gonna control a commander, which is a little bit lame. But I could Sharpie it, right? I could Sharpie it. Just get rid of everything except for you may choose both. Sharpie magic's a thing now, right? I think it is. I'm gonna give this like a 4.9, which I know seems like a little bit low, but I actually think that this might not be a trap, but it's not as good as I think it is. I'm almost sure it's not as good as I think it is. But we'll move on to Severed Strands here. This is 2 mana, 1 and a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast it, sack a creature. You gain life equal to the sacked creature's toughness. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. So you're always going to come down on some board presence, but obviously, you know, cards like this have existed in black for a long time. We all play them, but usually they cost 1 mana. You know, Bone Splinters and Annihilating Glare and stuff like that. So I have to ding this slightly because it costs twice as much as it should, which I don't necessarily love. But, you know, I'm still going to give this like a 5.2. I think that it deserves something along those lines. I like effects like this, and especially when they Diamond Valley you, it's pretty good. This seems like it could go pretty well in like Dina, Soul Steeper, for instance, because you want to gain the life. But you also want to sack creatures, and you want to, you know, kill your opponent's stuff. And this does all that in one card, so it probably should be one that I look at. Honestly. Doesn't look bad. But we'll move to final card of the day, Magus of the Tabernacle, or if you want to be weird, Magus of the Tabernacle. This is 4 mana, 3 and a white for a 2/6 human wizard. All creatures have, at the beginning of your upkeep, sack this creature unless you pay 1. Originally printed in Planar Chaos and never ever again. One of those. Another one of these, even though it's not on reserve list or anything. Nothing in Planar Chaos is going to be on reserve list. But you would think that they would have printed this more because it seems like an interesting commander card. Now, obviously, it's going to give itself this ability and all your other creatures too. So that might be why it doesn't see too much play, but it's still $1.45, and that's not like 25 cents like you would expect. Like a card that sees absolutely no play to see. That's rare. So, I don't know. Kind of like it. Kind of tough to kill too with that 6 toughness. That's not bad. Blocks all day. But yeah, depending on your pod and depending on your deck, right? If you're doing something that just does not play too many creatures, a group hug without creatures, or a turbo fog without creatures, then like suddenly this gets way, way better. But even turbo fog plays like Spore Frog and Flump and a bunch of other stuff. So even then it might not be the best thing ever. But I guess the idea is you're trying to lopside it, right? Your opponents are all paying like 5 or 6 mana a turn. You're paying like 2, right? So I don't hate this, dude. It's a pretty powerful effect that you don't see very often outside of Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, which is a good Magic card. So I don't know. I like it. I'm going to give this a 5.9. 100% serious. I kind of want to go a little bit higher than that. I really do. Because it's such a unique effect. So cool. I won't say it's entirely unique. It's cribbing off of an existing card like all the Maguses are, but again, this is just one you don't see every day that will be very irritating at a commander table. So I'm just going to give it flat 6. I'll move up to flat 6. I have no problem with that. But that is all of the cards for today. Let's see if YouTube will let me upload this video, because it may be like a few days before it really lets me upload anything while it's going through a review process and all that. But just in case this does hit YouTube, glad to be back. That was the scariest thing I've ever gone through in my life, next to my own health scare and my wife's health scare. So it's like top 3, top 5, you know, really, really scary. So let's hope we can get this thing up, man. I love you guys, and hopefully I will see you on this video and also tomorrow. Bye.